So for all you Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Asian descent, there are so few of our faces out there in tech speaking and sharing our views, sharing our voice, sharing our messages. The next generation of Chinese, Korean, Japanese, whatever it is, need to see us as being visible, as strong women, as women that stand up for what they say, as confident women. It is a shame. It is such a shame that if you've gotten up to the ladder or the top of the corporate ladder that you have, and for you not to show up and speak your voice and speak your message and share your gifts.
Welcome to the Who You Know Show in collaboration with
Tech Legacies Podcast.
Ooh, this is going to be a crazy episode, y'all. You want to know why? Because we don't know what we're doing.
We've never done this together before, actually.
Not a collab episode like this.
No. And long form. We're just going to go till it has its own conclusion.
That's exactly right. So I was talking with, by the way, for those that are just listening, tuning in online, I got Fanny Dunagan with me, CEO of Path Links.
Yes, sir. And I have Trevor Houston.
Yes.
CEO of Pathways.
Clear Path Wealth Strategies. It's fine. You've only known me for a while. It's okay.
I just know Trevor. I don't know Trevor the business. Like you're just Trevor to me.
I know. And okay, so me and Fanny, we were talking, and we're like, hey, we want to do an episode together. And she was like, let's prepare, because I'm
a planner.
You're a planner.
It makes me feel like I have control, even though I may not always have it.
And I said, no. Yeah. We're just good, because we have, okay, so for the audience, like, listen, all right, we have the best conversations all the time. We talk, we have long phone calls, we just talk
while we're driving.
Yeah, like,
random.
And every time we have a phone call or whatever,
we're
like, man, this should have been an episode.
It really should. We go down all kinds of rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. And it always starts with a text. The text is like, hey, got 5 minutes? And it's never 5 minutes.
Never.
So if I don't have more than 5 minutes, I'm not answering your text.
And that's fair, right? Like, that's
because I know we go down rabbit holes.
Absolutely. And I love that.
Same.
I mean, I tell everybody you're literally one of my favorite people.
Oh,
seriously.
Likewise, Trevor. I've been really looking forward to this because I think it's also to challenge myself, because I think you're an expert at winging it. And I'm still I like to plan things. I'll still kind of be ad hoc, but a part of me feels comfort in planning.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you have some guardrails. Like, you have a lot of times, okay, so when I do an episode, I'll have the questions that I'm going to ask, right?
Yes.
But the conversation just goes,
right.
I mean, I'll hit a couple questions just to get it started.
Sure.
And once it gets started, it just takes its
meanders.
Own kind of path. But it is nice to still have those questions in the event where maybe you get a dry person.
Though I've never interviewed somebody as much as I know you.
See?
So I think that part I was like, okay, we're going to just wing it. So for all of you out there, when you talk to people you really know deeply, don't even plan. Because I think there's some magic in the organic and in the unexpected. With people you know.
Well, okay, so actually we literally just had our 7th year anniversary of the Who You Know Show.
Oh my goodness. Congrats, Trevor.
Right? Crazy.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I still remember you guys in that little radio show.
Yep.
And it was probably like your 2nd episode, I want to say. And then I was there with Jane and Foster and Mark.
Yep.
And we were all just kind of feeling our way around, super nervous and
nobody knew what we were doing.
Kind of uncertain.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so I've been, I guess, changing things up. And, over 7 years, you're not going to do it exactly the same. You're going to get better and you're going to try new formats and try new things. And, you watch people like Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
And what they do is long form. They'll do like a 3-hour.
Oh,
right?
Yes. And I was watching a podcast. I haven't watched the whole thing. It was about deep fake. Lex Friedman or something. Have you heard of him? He posted a 5-hour long form YouTube episode.
Yeah.
Just recently. 5 hours. But he has 5 million, almost 5 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, at that point, do what you want.
Yeah. Well, and I think so with a long form conversation, here's where my thoughts are on that. If you have, like today we're going to be, guys, this is going to be a longer episode than normal.
Yes.
We're just
So
going to
sit
back, relax, grab some popcorn. Okay. It's going to go all over the place. We got no format, no formula.
No.
We're just going. But I think with that, again, you have some organic pieces that are going to stand out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you were talking about your journey just now, the question that came to my head was, along this 7-year journey you've had from the Who You Know show, what was the toughest period for you? I want to know that.
The toughest period. Like, from the podcast standpoint, like the most challenging period
like a hurdle that you had to overcome.
Oh, I've always been overcoming hurdles with this podcast, that's for sure. I've had some...
The toughest one.
Some compliance, stickies.
Spill it, Trevor.
Well, in financial services, it's, look, it's a highly regulated industry, and I've had some compliance issues with this podcast. It's not always been, not that I was doing anything wrong. It's just I was outside of the box of what's normal in my industry, right? Matter of fact, I was thinking about this the other day. I was literally at my office. And so I'm at Hall Park. I'm at my office. And I'm like, you know what? I really don't fit in. I don't fit in. Like, I stand out. Everybody's suit and tie, right? Everybody's, like, so polished. When I was coming out of my office, like, I built a studio in my office, right? So as I'm coming out of my office, it's at nighttime, and the glass, you can see it glowing. So literally my office stands, look, my whole office stands out. Like, as I'm driving out, I'm like, there's my, like, again, I don't fit in. I stand out. And that has its challenges. And,
I've always wondered that about you, Trevor, because for the longest time that I've known you, you're always kind of like pushing the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
You're what I would describe as a disruptor, and yet you're in a highly regulated industry, right?
That is...
Like, of all the industries you could have chosen, why that? Because you stayed. So maybe if you didn't know, you could have started in that, but you stayed, right? Why?
Well, okay, so I guess, I like a challenge maybe. And I got into financial services because of my financial advisor had been trying to recruit me. So it was always, when I was in the auto industry, it was always in the back of my head. He planted a seed, and it was always like, because look, I don't have a college degree. I don't have any formal education or anything like that. I thought the auto industry was going to be the most money I'd ever make. I felt, I don't know if it's a limiting beliefs or whatever, but I felt like I didn't have a lot of opportunity because I was limited to my education and things like that, right? And so it was always in the back of my head. I could do this. Like, he gave me that, like, hey, you could do this. You could be successful at it. And so I finally listened to him and made the leap of faith and left the auto industry, went to financial services. And it was really challenging. I almost failed. I think maybe I stayed because I hit a rock bottom moment. I was failing really hard when my first year. But then I figured it out, right? And started hitting high levels of success. And I was like, I got this, right? So maybe that's why I stayed. And it's always super challenging. Sense of achievement, the challenge. I'm also just not a quitter. Like, that's just not who I am. I'm not a quitter. So and I think also, to your point, you said disruptor. I think I have a little bit of like, no, I'm going to figure it out. Like, rebelliousness to me. Like, no, I'm going to figure it out. And like, because when you tell me no, like if you tell me no, you say, no, you can't do that. I'm going to say, why? Why not? And I'm going to start researching. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. So I'd been told no things, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I start researching and looking and like figuring out, okay, where's the hard line? Like, why not? I'm not doing anything criminal here. Why not? You know what I mean? And how is the right? It's not a no, it's how. How can we do this? Right? And so over the years, anyway, so you asked me my challenging moment it's always just been, how do I do this in financial services and make it compliance friendly?
So it's almost like you love that challenge, and you're going to want to, because anything else would be too easy then. Because you're in it to change it.
Yeah, I definitely, I see myself as a change agent for sure. Absolutely. I want to, you talk about disruptor, I want to change the way people market. I want to change, like, because in our industry, it's so old school. Like, they're just outdated in my industry. It's very much the old school networking and referrals. It's only referrals. And it's like, okay, I got you. Referrals are great. It's amazing. You want to build a business like that. But we are in 2025. Like, we can scale. Are you kidding me? One video could get millions of views, and like, forget referrals. I want to.
That's the thing. I think with referrals, you hit a limit, right? There's only so many people after a while.
It's not scalable. Yeah. So I was just like.
Do you see yourself in that for another 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, I do. I see myself really making a major impact, because I think my impact is going to be bigger in financial services, because I'm going to be able to change the way that it's done and bring it up to modern times. And if you think about that, if I can accomplish that goal, then what's the impact of all the other advisors and all the other agents that are out there that they can have, that they'll be able to serve more clients and help more people. So my impact on them is exponential, because they're able to help more people. So yeah, I do. I see there's a purpose behind it, like,
And as you're saying that, because in other industries that I'm seeing, right, they always say there's like a talent gap where the younger generation aren't going into it, right? And so I think of audience members of yours that might be in their 20s, or they're just getting out of college, right? And they may or may not be thinking, when I grow up, I want to be a financial planner.
Oh, right?
Yeah. But the way you're doing it with media, with podcasting, with videos, combined with the stability of the offerings, that might be appealing to that next generation.
Absolutely.
Do you see that?
I do see that. Like, the younger generation that grew up on this stuff. So if you tell somebody, like, who's, let's just say 25 years old, and they're like, I want to get into financial services and be a financial advisor. And you're like, yeah, okay, great. But you can't be on social media, and you're not going to be able to make videos, and you're not going to be able to market yourself, and you're not going to be able to do a podcast, and you're not going to be able to do.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, what are you
smoking? No, thank you.
What are you smoking? So you want me to go out there and build a business, but I can't market myself?
Yeah.
Right?
It's not sustainable for the next generation.
No.
And you think about how 20-year-olds buy. They're buying because they see something on social media, or they gravitate towards a story, or somebody made them feel something, and then they click further.
Yep.
Click to learn more. Click, and then, but that's the only path to buy now. Honestly, I think for anything, we see something on social media, and then we go down into the funnel, go down into that path to find out more.
Yeah, you're like, click the thing. Click the link down below. Click the link. Hey, if you're watching right now, click the link. Click the link. Click the link.
Subscribe, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? That's the only way. We're not looking through yellow pages. We're not. Even my kids, they're not Googling. My daughter will go to TikTok to research something before. Well, she won't even Google. Like, she just looks at me weird because I'm Googling things.
I go to ChatGPT now.
Too.
So I like one of the things that's been amazing, and I don't know which iteration of ChatGPT, because it keeps evolving, right? But whenever they made it to where it could actually surf the web and research, like
there's that search button now.
Oh yeah, like okay, so something that I've been creating is like, it will research. I can have it research. Let's say I want to get on some more stages. Okay. I want to speak, at, let's just say financial conferences. Okay. So I could have it do the research, find them in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, find all within the next quarter. Let's say every quarter I want to do this. Find me all of the conferences that are going around. It could be conferences, workshops, anything like that, right? So it'll do the research, and it not only will do the research, but it will find the event coordinator and the event coordinator's information, their contact information.
Application dates.
Oh, absolutely. And then next thing you know, you could have it, you can actually have it tailor based off of what your knowledge base is, and create pitches.
Oh, yeah. You can say, based on what you know about me.
Yep.
Write a pitch.
A pitch specific to that event.
Yeah.
Like, why
Isn't
would
that
I
incredible?
why would I be a good fit for that event?
Yeah.
Job seekers are doing this right now.
Yeah.
Right? They're using ChatGPT to, hey, how am I the best fit for this job, and tailor my resume? And actually, it's really
I'm curious. I would love for the audience to maybe put in the comments whether they have started, your job seeker audience, whether they've started to use ChatGPT for resume writing, interview prep, all that stuff. Analyzing a company, all that.
How about this? Put in the comments what you use ChatGPT for most often, and if you're using it in career search, how. I teach them tons. I actually create prompts for them because I'm like, it's so interesting. I went to this, it was actually Frisco Connect, and I can't remember who the speaker was, but they were teaching ChatGPT for job search. And it was awful. I got to tell you, it was so bad. It was so bad because half of it was like what ChatGPT is and the history of it and where it came from, and then the competitors. They went into all the competitors, and it was just way too much information that it was useless information. And then it would go into
know your audience.
Then it would go into some. They started talking about some use cases, but don't just tell me, oh, you can do this with that tool. Give me the prompt.
Yeah.
Give me the exact prompt.
Maybe they want to be hired to be given the prompt.
Maybe. Sell the prompts for $99. Come on. I don't know. But the point is, I was like, you're teaching them how the watch works. No one cares. I want to know what time it is.
People want outcome.
Yeah,
everything outcome.
I don't care how the history of ChatGPT and how it got put together and all that. I don't care about any of that.
You know what it is though, Trevor? I think it's also just this whole education system. My daughter is graduating. She's a senior.
Congrats.
I know. She's leaving in a few months. But when I look at what they're studying, like they're still studying history, world history. And granted, we should learn things from the past and all that, right? But like calculus, algebra, all that stuff is still in there, right? And so I think we were brought up to think that we need to know all the historical context before we can do something or before we can fully understand something. And so, and that might be why that presentation was structured that way. They felt like they had to give all this background when people nowadays are super impatient. Let's just go, let's just do it. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to learn along the way. But I do have hope because this year my son is a freshman and he started in this business academy that they started in the school, first year. And they're learning things like entrepreneurship. They're going to have like Shark Tank pitches that the students have to kind of like sell their ideas on. And they're going to have site visits, all that. And in fact, I told them that I want to give them like a tour of some of the studios where we record, right? So they can see all this possibility and not be just studying history and geography and algebra.
I love that because
I think that's the world we're getting to. Anything that you can find on ChatGPT, you could just type it in, right? We shouldn't be expecting our kids to be memorizing that anymore.
No. I mean, look, again, all right, so let me just give you an example here. Do you know how this works? Yeah, do you understand how this device works? No. I don't care. And it does a million different things. I mean, hell, this has ChatGPT on it. I've got ChatGPT right here. This thing does everything. I don't care how it works. It doesn't matter how it works. This has everything I need on it. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Why is there school when we have this in our pocket? This is school. It's going
to take a while for schools to even teach prompt writing. Right? I don't even know if they're going to teach prompt writing. I don't even know what, my kids, I'm going to have to teach them something. My kids don't know how to write prompts.
Okay, so this is actually a good conversation. Let's dig into this because
I know.
Because I'm kind of now I'm not scared, but I'm kind of scared, maybe a little bit. Like, what's the future? Because it's moving so fast with technology, right? So, you with the Tech Legacies show, all right. I'm sure y'all get into this topic all the time, but like I definitely see it taking over jobs for sure. I mean, it already is, but like at a rapid scale. And I think that it's not just like we saw what it did in the content creation space. Like it really changed things. But it's so many industries like.
Yes. And well.
And it's just getting started.
I know.
Right?
And I think every single one of us has to be thinking about how do we get ahead of it? Or no, let me take that back. Not how do we get ahead of it because it's moving so fast. How do we maybe get around it or be parallel with it? And what I mean by that is I've been thinking a lot more about storytelling, right, in content creation. And that's why I think I was so excited for this long form because we're not planning, but I think we have stories and personal experiences to share that ChatGPT, AI can never, ever replace. Right? If we talk about a challenge, right, the challenges that you experience, those kind of stories make audiences feel something or they can relate to it, but it's not something that ChatGPT can just reiterate. And even if it did, you could always tell. You can always tell if it sounds artificial. Yeah. For now.
Yeah. I don't know. They're getting pretty good with that voice stuff. Have you seen some clips where it'll be somebody famous that'll start talking, and then you can tell because the narrative and the story that they go off of. This goes to what like Austin Armstrong and Scott Simpson are talking about with the faceless videos. But basically, they'll take like a clip. Like let's just say it's Joe Rogan starts talking, okay? And then they take his voice, and Joe Rogan starts going off on a story about some craziness that, like, it's not really him saying all these things, right? But the story and the clip is actually still very interesting, and it's fun to watch, and all the visual that they put with it and everything else. Like, it's actually pretty neat. Like, Joe Rogan will be telling a crazy story about just something random. But anyway, so some of that faceless video and the storytelling and the...
I don't know. I don't know if I see that the world is going that way, but it actually almost saddens me. That, and I think there will still be an old school...
Maybe that makes this more valuable right
That's
here.
the thing.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, like I was just listening to a podcast with Daniel Priestley on Diary of a CEO. Okay. And he was talking about this concept of, we're not going to get into politics, but he's using the different elections every year and what helped the winners win, right? And he was saying that the vehicle that they used to win the election all came down to media and communications. Way back when it was radio. I don't know the exact names of who won back then, but radio helped that president win. And then it was television. Whoever got on television more, they won that. And then there was, I think back in the days of, like, Obama used social media a lot, right? And then I think Trump used, what's that analytics company to kind of do personalized targeting, right? On Facebook.
On Facebook, targeted
right?
ads.
Analytica, or tell us in the comments, because I forget that analytics company that helped with that. And then this year they said it was podcasting.
Yes.
And
yes.
Trump got on a lot of long form podcasts, and he had tons and tons of views.
Right. He went on Rogan.
Right. Yes, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Well, and a bunch of other ones.
Yes.
But they already had big established audiences, and he did. Yeah, he went on all these big podcasts. Yeah. And then what happens from that, you get the boost of the long form content, but then all of a sudden you get those clips.
Yes.
And the clips went viral.
Whereas Kamala didn't do as many long form.
She didn't do it.
But one other thing he said, Daniel Priestley, was that because it was on long form, people felt like they can listen to it and judge that candidate and listen to the whole thing and then feel like they kind of know who that person is, and then they made their decision from that.
So you're getting a better sense of who the person is rather than the little short
if you're listening to them
bites.
For 2 hours.
Right.
Because after a while, you can only fake it for so long, I think.
Right.
And then your real side will come out in long form.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I've ever watched because Rogan does like 3 hours. I don't think I've ever watched.
I don't watch, but I listen.
You've listened?
I listen to podcasts in the car.
Okay.
And so I can listen to 2-3 hour long thing because I'll just listen to it at like 20 minutes while I'm dropping off my son. And then I'm driving to Dallas here. I'll listen to it another 40 minutes. And it just accumulates. So I don't even really realize that I'm watching 3 hours or listening 3 hours. I wouldn't be able to watch it on YouTube for 3 hours, though.
Yeah.
I'd have to.
You'd have to just listen to it.
It's because it's in the car. It's just this background. And then, in a way, their voice is inside my head. And then it's suddenly, I feel like I know them, even though I don't.
Well, okay, so what you were talking about with storytelling reminds me of, so I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago, I went to the podcast movement. They were here in Dallas, right? And that was one of my big takeaways was for podcasting, when you think about it's an audio experience. Now, you do have the video experience, right? But let's just say for you, you're listening. So when you have this audio experience, if a person can tell really good stories, they're able to create the visual in your mind, right? Just like when you read a book, right? You're creating the visual, right? And so it's super powerful, actually. There's like a better connection than even if you were to watch it.
Because the picture is floating around in their head as you're telling the story. Yeah. You and I both interviewed Chris Do.
Yes.
And he's a very well-rounded storyteller.
I need to go back and watch that episode again because I can't remember.
Well, you've interviewed so many people.
I know, but he was good. I remember that. He was good. Yeah. You know what? I was looking at my analytics, and you know who my number one episode is right now?
Let me guess. Grant Cardone.
Close.
Oh, Elena Cardone.
Close.
Oh, their daughter.
Sabrina Cardone. Oh. The daughter. 15 years old. Well, I think she's like 16 now. But she was 15 and just brilliant. Gosh. And I remember I felt weird asking for that interview because I had already interviewed the parents, right? Yeah. And I felt kind of weird asking for that. Yeah. But I saw these clips. Actually, no, it wasn't a clip. I was in a Zoom that Grant Cardone was doing. It was Grant Cardone, Pete Vargas, who owns 10X Stages. So he teaches people how to speak on stage. Anyways, and so they were interviewing each other, and Sabrina was there, and Sabrina and Grant started interacting together, and I was like, this girl is so smart. She was brilliant, and I was like, I was such a screw-up at her age. Like, I got in so much trouble and was just, like, ruining my life as a teenager, and I watching this girl talk with her father, and I'm like, she's brilliant. And I'm like, that's the difference of a positive environment. My environment growing up was chaos, and there were criminals everywhere, and there was just all kinds of stuff going on. Her environment, she's getting fed from the most brilliant minds.
Yes.
Right?
She's surrounded
by just
leaders.
Absolute juggernauts.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you see that, and I'm like, wow. And so I'd already interviewed her parents, and I'm like, all right, what the hell? I'm gonna ask.
I always love your boldness.
But I felt kind of weird.
Ask. Yeah.
Like, let me interview your 15-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Like, I felt kind of weird.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But they were actually, like, kind of, like, honored. Like, wow. And Grant was in the background. He was in the
protective father.
Oh yeah, he was in the background, and but what was so cool was he was sharing clips, like he's proud of his daughter getting invited onto a podcast, right? Yeah, and because it was one of her first that she had been invited onto, and pretty cool.
And that reminds me, like, I think every parent that's listening to this right now, they need to be thinking about how to enable their kids to speak better and communicate better.
Communication is,
how to
in my opinion, the number one. It's the most valuable skill on this planet.
Yes.
It is. I think so.
Same thing. Like, I was at a parent-teacher information night at the school, and they had these kids from this business academy, and they walked up on stage and spoke. And there were 3 of them, and they were so articulate. And I think back to myself at 18, kind of shy, and if I spoke up, I would feel so self-conscious and just judging myself. And there was also a boy that spoke, and he was having to swallow often because his mouth was all dry, and you could tell like he was nervous. But at the same time, he had rehearsed it, I could tell. And so he said everything that he needed to say. And I loved the fact that he was nervous and not totally polished, because he was still standing there. And when he walked off the stage, you could tell him like breathe this huge sigh of relief. And he's like, oh. He just did that as he's walking off the stage. But I just wanted to stand up and clap for him.
Heck yeah.
Because I'd rather have someone do that and be courageous and scared all at the same time on stage hiding at the back of the class.
Look, I have...
Do it scared.
I do it scared, absolutely.
Do it scared.
I've had my experiences of hiding, okay, literally.
Oh, I'm not saying, I
Yeah.
do that too. I did that.
Yep.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I remember, okay, so here's where it comes from. So I had a major fear of public speaking, and actually I still do. I will never say that that's like gone away. Like, I mean, I have, it is never going to be like if I was to go on a stage right now and speak, it's not going to be, I'm still going to be scared. I'm going to be nervous, right? All of that, but it's not going to be at the same level as it once was. But it comes from my childhood, actually, because I was in these special ed classes, okay? Because I had so much going on. I was getting in so much trouble as a kid. They put me in, they said I had ADHD, and they put me in special ed classes with people that had, like, real mental disabilities. And they put me in there, and I wasn't allowed to leave that class. It was like, it was called PASS, Positive Attitudes for Success. That's what it was called. And so I had to stay in there all day in these little cubicles, and couldn't really talk with the other kids and stuff like that. And then during lunch, they would let you go. So it's like you're in there, you're in this box all day, and so I didn't know the other kids or anything like that. So I would go to lunch, and I felt very awkward. I felt like I was damaged goods, and I felt like people were staring at me. All of that was probably in my head. But I felt weird and awkward because everybody had already clicked up because they'd had classes together, right? And I hadn't been able to meet anybody, so I wasn't able to click up. And so I'm like walking in there. I'm like, very awkward, scared. And I would go get my lunch, and I would take my lunch tray, and I would go to the restroom because I was so afraid to, like, sit down and just be seen alone, or go sit down at a table where I didn't know anyone. I was so afraid. I would go and eat lunch alone in the restroom and then go back to the PASS class. Yeah. And as an adult, what's crazy is, like, as an adult, I remember being so afraid to get up and public speak. I remember Foster Williams, actually. He would basically pick on people and go around the room and call on people and make them speak. And I was so afraid of that I remember literally telling Mark, I lied to him. I was like, hey, I got to go use the restroom. And I would leave and go to the restroom and hide out in the freaking restroom.
The restroom's your sanctuary.
It was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Oh, I got to use the restroom. And I was so afraid of it.
You know what's interesting, Trevor? I hear your story, and now you talk for a living, literally. And I have my podcast, Tech Legacies, but it's the same also, my journey, just different. Because I immigrated to Canada. Our family immigrated to Canada when I was 6 years old. And so I didn't speak any English at all. And so they put me in English as a second language classes, ESL classes. And I still remember that teacher, Miss McDonald. And she had like silvery short hair. She wasn't married. And she had just kind of like given herself to her students and teaching immigrants English. And I learned English from her. And so from first grade, second grade, I remember being made fun of in the playground. I still remember this one boy that like teased me for not knowing English. And then, but over time, I guess I picked it up. And now, I talk for a living as well and teach other people to talk on videos and podcasts. But isn't it ironic that like the thing that kind of hurt us or made us feel super vulnerable and self-conscious back then became the thing that we invested in to get good at, spent lots of money on to get better, and now we do it for a living.
Well, they say, I think it goes along with turn your mess into your message, right? And then also, if you think about it, this is what I've always felt, was that, and, for the listening audience out there, like, you may be, I don't know what your belief system is, but this is my belief system, is that we have a creator and we have an enemy. We have somebody that's out there trying to destroy us. lie, kill, and destroy. We have the enemy, and my thought is that the enemy wants to use fear as a tool to destroy you. And so what the enemy does is wants to take your greatest asset that was given to you by God, right? Your greatest weapon for good. And he wants to just make you so afraid of it. What is the greatest asset? Well, that's the communication, right? So here we are. This is what we're doing. This is our gift, right? And the enemy wants to steal that from you. It wants to keep you quiet, keep you silent. Why? Because if Fanny doesn't get to speak, Fanny can't make an impact. Fanny can't help people. Fanny can't serve people. Let's keep her quiet. And how do I make Fanny quiet? Well, I'm going to make her afraid.
Who is this enemy that you...
Satan, the devil.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call it.
Got it.
That son of a gun.
Let's talk about fear. Because especially as an immigrant, you grow up with very, very cautious parents. Because when you're an immigrant, you're afraid to be seen too much because you just want to ease into society, kind of just go with the flow. At least that's what I was taught. And so you almost don't want to be seen. Because if you're seen, then maybe you'll get in trouble and then you'll be kicked out. I mean, that's the mentality back then, right? And so my mom was always kind of instilling in us don't do this, don't do that, don't go out too late. Don't hang out with these people, or if somebody's extra nice to meet you, they might want something.
Stranger danger.
I'll tell you a very personal story. I haven't said it on air, but
tell me.
I know we're getting to that point.
Yeah, let's
it's
go.
1 hour in.
We're 1 hour in. We're going.
Yeah. If you are still listening to this podcast, then you get juicy stories.
Yes, I love it.
My boyfriend back in high school, he got me Phantom of the Opera tickets for in our senior year. And so I was going to go watch it with him. And I remember up to the last minute, even as I'm walking out the door, right? My mom is be careful. For some reason, she's implying that because he got me tickets, then he's going to want something from me. And rather than just, this is part of the relationship and he's just being nice and all that, right?
How long had you been dating when he got you these tickets?
Well, I guess according to my mom, she didn't really know that we were dating. Uh-huh. And then, so I guess to her, it just seemed out of the blue, he invited me.
Got it. So yeah, with her, she's thinking,
yeah.
There's a motive here.
But that's the level of caution I lived with, right? Mm-hmm. She wouldn't ever allow us to go to sleepovers, right? Because she thought something bad would happen at a friend's sleepover. And so you grow up in this environment. I grew up in this environment of just caution and fear. And it wasn't until the 40s, that I was in my 40s, that I am unlearning all these fears and learning to say, do it scared, and just living and having almost a healthy relationship with fear. Every time I walk into something that's unfamiliar, my heart will beat a little faster. But now it's nope, I'm just excited. I'm just going to go in there, even though I'm kind of uncertain. My palm might be a little sweaty, and my heart might be beating a little faster. But I'm just going to walk in there and then trust that I'll know what to say.
So is that
and that comes down to communications.
And is that how you walked in here today? You
were
a little nervous.
Yes, all that.
And you've been doing podcasting for so long.
Yeah.
And you came in here a little nervous because we didn't have a script.
No. But I welcome that challenge too. Right? There's the cautious brain that was oh my God, oh crap. There's no plan, there's no questions, there's no agenda. But then now there's another part of me come on, let's go. Let's play on this higher plane of being scared and doing it anyways.
Well, you remember I told you this. I said we've actually have done this before. When we did Video Marketing World, okay, there was no. I knew I was going to interview you, but I didn't have any questions or anything. I was just like, Fanny, sit down, let's talk, and we talked, and it was short. It was 30 minutes, but you know what I'm saying? And that was a great episode. It was a great episode.
It was. But I don't think it can happen with everybody. I think it needs a level of trust.
I don't know. I did 21 of those. That conference, I did 21 of those completely blind interviews. Like, I mean, I had them fill out like their name, their title.
Did they all get deep?
I extracted it, right? And it was really cool. I will tell you that was a unique experience for me because I did 21 interviews, people I don't even know. But I wanted to know, okay, so they're at a conference. That's the commonality, right? That's the common point. They're at a video marketing conference. Okay, so I started asking questions like,
there are already people that are prime to do video, though.
Well, no. These people were afraid to. These people had never been on a podcast interview before. A lot of them were fish out of water.
Yeah.
But my thought was, okay, why are they here?
Yeah.
Right? They're here at this conference for what reason? They're there because they have a dream. They have something that they're trying to launch. They have some business. They have something that they're trying to accomplish. There's some goal, right? That they're trying to. Again,
they're ready for change.
They're ready for change. And they want to transform their life. Yeah. And they know video is the way to do it. So they're there for that. So I wanted to extract that. Like, why are you here? What are the things? So anyways, I was able to pull out stories and pull out and also speak life into people too, into their dreams, which was really cool. I was speaking life into their dreams, telling them, hey, yeah, you should absolutely do this. Matter of fact, one of Jacqueline Kreider, I think it is, she was a mortgage person. I did that interview there, and I told her, I was like, you need to do a podcast because, like, we were having such a great conversation. I'm like, you actually need to do this. You need to do. And I was speaking life into her. 2 years later, she hits me up, and she was like, hey, will you help me start a podcast? And she was very much like, and I was like, yes. And I told her yes, and she launched a podcast, and she's crushing it right now. I've actually helped a lot of people.
You have. You've helped me. For those of you in the audience, Trevor was the one that got me on LinkedIn Live.
Let's go.
Because you got access to the beta LinkedIn Live back in 2019.
2019, yeah.
And you applied, you got in, or they gave it to you, one or the other. And I remember you telling me, Fanny, you got to apply. And my cautious brain was like, oh, I don't know. I already do videos. Why would I want to do live? And I didn't listen to you. And then towards the end of 2019, I finally applied. I'm like, what the heck? And then secretly hoping they reject me so then I have an excuse. These are the mind games that my brain does to me. And lo and behold, March 2020, I got approved for LinkedIn Live. And what's the significance of March 2020, Trevor? What happened in March of 2020? 2020.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID happened.
Yeah,
everything shut down, and that was the month I got LinkedIn Live. And that's when I went live for the first time, and then the rest is history.
That's huge too, because okay, so that makes total sense. So
thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for doing it. All right, look at you. I mean, and what I think is significant about that, let's talk about that for a second. So going live, we started our show live too in 2018. And live streaming puts pressure on you, right? That pressure, like here in this episode today, I didn't start and stop and do a intro again, or I messed up and let's keep no.
I forgot the name of your show. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you forgot the name of my company. You're like Pathways to
Clear Path Wealth Strategies.
It's on the TV, Fanny. Come on. But no, Yeah, so you just go. Who cares? And that's
Yeah.
the authenticity that people
Yeah.
want and desire. Anyways, people don't want this polished, like,
They don't.
you know what I mean? Reading from teleprompter type stuff.
LinkedIn Lives, I think, any kind of live streaming is such a beautiful exercise to learn about yourself and to like throw yourself into the deep end. I actually recommend it for everyone because whether someone tunes in or not, learning to just wing it, learning to be calm when the tech doesn't work.
Oh, shoot.
When you press go live and it doesn't stream. I've had that happen several times. And I think that builds confidence. That made me feel confident that if I can handle all those things and still stay calm, then I can handle anything.
So I have a question for you. We're, talking about fear and doing it scared. What's the last time or maybe the biggest moment where you're like, I freaking overcame that? Like I was terrified, but I did it anyways. Is there a moment you can think of that's recent or like a really big moment for you that you're like super proud of yourself that you... Because it sounds like LinkedIn Live was one of those.
Yes. Yeah. That was 2020. Well, I was really nervous I did an episode with Jacob Miles, who's a former VP at Hasbro. Okay. And he and I did a show about tech and toys.
Okay. I think I remember you telling me about that.
Yes. And I was really nervous for that.
Why?
Because I really wanted it to do well. Because I had committed to doing things that were more fun and that like honored my inner child, which didn't get to play a lot growing up.
Oh.
I didn't say that to get your pity.
No, that's so sad.
But it's
look
okay.
At you now.
It's okay. But I get to play now.
Yeah,
and so I really, because that's going to become, by the way, that's going to become a spin-off show from Tech Legacies. And I remember being so nervous before that episode because it was live. And all I could think of was, what if the tech doesn't work? And I remember, I'm going to share something very personal here. I remember to hype myself up, I went into my closet, put on like the Sia song called Unstoppable. And I just listened to it and like danced around in my closet to like hype myself up. And then I was like, okay, I got this. I got this. And then I walked into the episode and then, and it was fine. And it was just like the adrenaline was just pumping. And I even thought it glitched because one of the screens like on LinkedIn didn't go live. And so I thought it was only live on YouTube and then all this stuff. But
where did you do this episode?
Real News PR
You
Studios.
did it at Real News?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, at the anchor desk.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's why I do like their setup over there. Like, I trust that they got the setup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They got a good setup.
But that's how scared I was. I was psyching myself up and thinking that there was a glitch when there wasn't even a glitch.
There wasn't even a glitch, yeah.
And these are like, so that was, that's 4 years into my live journey. And I still felt that. And so I think it just goes to show it never ends, but you just keep going.
So,
do you ever feel like that?
Yeah.
Because do you still get nervous interviewing certain people?
Certain people, yeah. Recently, actually, I just released it. Was Rachel Cruz, which is Dave Ramsey's daughter. So I interviewed her. Actually, I've interviewed the entire Dave Ramsey team except for Dave Ramsey. I'm still working on him, working my way up. But I figure, hey, like literally all of his personality team, they're all big time too, right? They're not him, but they're big time, right? Anyway, and I've interviewed all of them, and but yeah, I still get a little bit, but it's not like, it's not that big a deal. I interviewing is almost getting mundane almost. This is why I want to take it to a new. This is like this is new. This is a little bit new. I like unscripted. Just go with it. I like that. Maybe we could get in here, okay, instead of like today we literally had zero plan, and I wanted to keep it that for a reason. But maybe having a topic, just a it could be a trending news story or something, just to get the thing going. Maybe a few things like. But beyond that, no formulated questions or anything like that. Just, do you ever watch Patrick Bet David, the PBD show?
I have not.
No? Okay. Do you know who that is?
But I know who it is. Yeah. Yeah.
I like watching his because he does that a lot, where he will have trending news stories.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll have like him, and then usually about 3 other people on the podcast. And he'll basically kind of read the news story. And it's something, it's usually political or whatever. But then everybody's kind of giving their thoughts about this trending news story, right? And, it goes all kinds of directions, but people are giving their thoughts off of a certain topic, right? So it's kind of cool.
For 2025... how are you going to grow and be different or be better with your show?
With the show. So, again, more solo content. There's a lot of creators that I follow that, again, when if you're interviewing someone, you're making them the expert, right? You're not the expert. You're making them the expert. You're making them the superstar. You're saying how amazing they are, and blah, 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 and asking them the questions. And the content that comes out of it is really focused on them, which has its advantages. We could go into all of that, but it really does. And I've done that for so long. Going on other people's podcasts is great because, again, now I'm the expert. But doing solo content really makes you an expert, right? Where you're teaching a subject, you're the one talking. Maybe it's a trending topic or something like that, and you start going into it, and like no one's asking you questions. You're delivering, and I did that actually a lot during my Breakfast with Champions days in Clubhouse, right? And yes and no. They shortened up the time, and so they've had that Breakfast with Champions has had multiple owners. So Glenn Lundy started it, then it went to Ramon Ray, and then now it's Mary Lynn Wilkins.
I'm impressed that Clubhouse is still around.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No,
that was
you're
a detour.
Good. No,
okay.
Yeah.
So back to solo shows.
Yeah, solo content, because you're going to be able to extract a lot of value out of that, a lot of micro clips and things like that, and even the long form is going to be great, and the audience gets to really know you as the host, right? And I follow a lot of creators. If you think about that, like now some of these are going to be political, and you're going to instantly know like my affiliations when I say who I follow. But okay, so Candace Owens,
See, I don't know these people.
You don't know. So,
it just goes to show.
Yeah.
Trevor and I are on different sides.
Ben Shapiro, like they do these monologues, right? And they're great. They are awesome. So I'm like, okay, I think that's the next iteration. Yeah. I'm going to start doing more monologues. And I
look forward to hearing those.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you think you'll concentrate on certain topics or just whatever you're thinking about that day?
Well, I think right now the goal is to create a ton of financial related content. So I'm just going to hammer all that out. Well, once I've done that, I think after that's done, I think it's going to be more about, I guess, what I'm going through, experiences that I'm going through, because it's almost like a time capsule. Like a podcast is like a time capsule.
Yeah. It's kind of like what's happening right now, what you're thinking about right now.
Yeah.
I was just curious when you said that you were kind of getting bored of interviewing.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
I've done it so many times. I've just, this isn't boring to me.
Good.
Yeah, no, this is good. You're like, good. It better not be. No,
You're no longer my friend.
I enjoy this because it's just natural. The other types of interviews that I do, it's like the same crap. I mean, I'm sorry, like, to my audience, I love y'all, but I've been crapping on y'all for years with this. I'm interviewing these entrepreneurs and these authors. I get it. You got a book. That's great. Cool. Like, what's so funny is, like, everybody's a best-selling author, podcast host, TEDx speaker. Like, everybody.
Well, we're also, I think, very saturated. And I've been thinking about this recently. Like, what is it going to take to really stand out? And I think the ones that will stand out are the ones that will dig deep. So I have a word of the year.
Okay.
We always have a word of the year. My last year was fun. This year it's depth. Do you have a word of the year?
So, it's a good question. I would like to carry can I carry over my word from last year?
Oh, yeah? What was it?
Can I just do a word of the decade?
Okay. And it is?
Freedom.
Freedom. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Freedom. I can see that for you. Yeah. So, where was I going with that?
Depth.
So, I think the difference now is I want to ask myself before I select a guest, is this a person that has done the work with themselves, that has a high level of self-awareness, that is okay looking deeply and then sharing it with other people? And then I think then that will make for a better guest. People that are willing to dig deep, that have done the inner work to be more self-aware, and then know that they don't have anything to hide anymore. And then they can share that with the audience.
They can just be themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
like
just
even you, like, I think you being able to share about your difficult childhood and the trouble that you've gotten into, I think that resonates with people. And being able to be open about it and it's not even like a sob story or anything. It's just something that you've learned from and you've overcome, and now you use that to make you stronger.
Yeah, it's just part of who, it's part of who I am.
And same, like for me, like I feel like in my 40s, I've been doing a lot of inner work and looking at things that I believed when I was a kid that don't serve me any longer.
Well, this is where I said we are, like, the podcast is a time capsule. Because, all right, I'm now 7 years into this podcast, and it's different from when I began, when I first started, and my beliefs are gonna change. I'm going to grow as a human, as a person, right? Could you imagine? Oh my gosh, if I started a podcast at like 20 years old. 20-year-old Trevor podcast? Holy crap. That would be the funniest dang podcast.
Who were you when you were in your 20s?
Oh, I was just so aggressive. So aggressive. At that point, I was working at Harley Davidson. And then after that, I went to the auto industry. But yeah, I was very aggressive. So, yeah, that would have been an amazing show. Like, I have had to learn a lot of self-control and patience and being politically correct. And, like, that's That should be my new word for the year. Politically correct.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, because I'm having to, in order for me to get the goals accomplished that I want to get accomplished, I have to. And I hate it because I just I just want to be raw and unfiltered, but I have to put a filter on. There's a filter that I have to put on in order to accomplish the goals that I want to. And anyway, sidebar. But at 20, there was no filter.
Isn't that funny?
Zero
See,
filter.
At 20, there were tons of filter for me.
Really?
And I'm probably more open now than I ever used to be.
Mm.
At 20, I was in college.
Oh, I would have got canceled.
Yeah. This is how nerdy I was.
Would have killed me at 20.
Trevor, at 20, I was usually studying in the library because I was in engineering, and there was always so much homework. But I wanted to be like successful so badly, and in my mind, the only path to success was to get a good education and then a good job. And that was all I wanted. And I wanted to like get out of being poor and like just be successful. And so that's all I cared about. And so it's like, okay, if it means that I have to study on a Friday night in the library, which my husband says I was such a geek, which I was. I'll own that. But yeah, look at the difference in our 20s.
Yeah, for sure.
No right or wrong.
Because of the school, environment that I had, I hated school, right? I absolutely hated school. And so I rebelled against school, and anytime they would, like, the only way to get me to do anything at school was to tell me that for instance, like if it was English class, they would say, all right, Trevor, the project is to write a paper, but you can write it on whatever you want. Like, you can pick the topic and you can write it on whatever you want. And so I remember I would write papers on Tupac because that was something I was very interested in. And I would go down a rabbit hole of his whole, there was a conspiracy theory that he faked his death, and there was like this, so I would go deep into all the conspiracy, and I would write papers on it and all this kind of stuff. But it was a topic, it was something that I was passionate about, something that I enjoyed, I loved, right? But other than that, in school, I hated school, and I rebelled against it, and
you think about that now in content creation, where the more niche and unique that you are, the more you'll attract your tribe, right? Like if somebody had a channel just like analyzing Tupac's music, or even like decoding hip hop, 90s hip hop, right? Like, or R&B or rap, whatever the genre, right? How cool would that channel be now?
Let me tell you something. There's a channel on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And it is scary good, and it's basically it's AI Tupac, and it is so good, Fanny. And growing up as somebody that listened to Tupac their whole life, it is not like, oh, it's close. No, it is him. It is so good.
So AI generated it all.
AI generated, and
is he singing new songs?
New stuff. And what's crazy
New lyrics?
New lyrics. And the crazy part about it is it is so scary good. I'm telling you.
Who's writing it?
I don't know who writes the music, but like the lyrics of it, I'm sure AI is probably writing the lyrics. I mean, they've probably fed the AI all his lyrics, and it knows.
Do you think it's his label? Or
no,
whoever?
No. This is like
just
a creator.
Some random.
This is like a creator.
Wow.
And but what's crazy about it is, so remember I was telling you about the conspiracy theories of him faking his death and all that. Like there's this whole thing because he would literally tell you in his songs that he was going to fake his death, right? Because Tupac got shot. He got shot 5 times, and he survived. And because of that, he knew he was going to get shot and die. Like, he knew. So his lyrics were always about, I'm going to get shot and die and all this kind of stuff. And, like, there was one song I remember specifically. He said, I heard a rumor I died, murdered in cold blood, traumatized. Pictures of me in my final state. You know mama cried, but that was fiction. Somebody got the story twisted, like I'm no longer existent, mysteriously missing. Right?
Oh my God, bravo.
Yeah.
Look at you. See, like hour and a half in.
Yeah.
Trevor's rapping.
But think about that. Like, I heard a rumor I died, murdered in cold blood, traumatized. Pictures of me in my final state. You know mama cried, but that was fiction. Somebody got the story twisted, like I'm no longer existent, mysteriously missing. Like, he rapped about, and when he went to jail, I know all about Tupac. So when he went to jail, he was reading Machiavelli and all of these books about the art of war and like how to fake your death to deceive your enemies. And like all this stuff. So there was this whole
So you wrote a whole English essay about this?
Oh my gosh, I got so into it. The whole 7-day theory, there's a lot around the number 7. Like, he died at 4:03 p.m. and like there's all this stuff around the number 7. And the whole theory was he was going to fake his death and come back after 7 years. And because there was something about the statute of limitations and all of that. Because if you were to cash in your life insurance policy or whatever, and then, right, that's a crime.
Yeah.
If you faked your death and cashed in your life, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But anyway, there was like a statute of limitations of this 7 years. And like, anyway, so there's this whole thing that he was going to come back. So I don't know, I'm going down a rabbit hole about this, but
it's so funny. Like, this is, and I think it just goes to show for our audiences, right? The lesson or point here is that you could take whatever you enjoy and make content from it.
Yeah.
Right. And even so, speaking of high school, this is how different our childhood is. Physics class, and I wrote about, we had to do it in a creative way. We had to write about somebody in historical, a physicist in history. And so I wrote about Galileo, who argued that the earth was round, even though at that time a lot of people thought the earth was flat.
So now it's the opposite. People think it's flat, you're seeing all these
flat
channels
earthers.
About, yeah. What's up with that?
You tell me.
I don't know. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole
No,
yet.
it's round.
It's round.
And then I had to write it in the form of a court case.
What if it's like a quarter?
A quarter what?
Ooh.
What's a quarter?
We're about to get into some stuff. Hold on. Okay. So think about it. Have you ever, think about this. Think about a quarter, like an actual quarter, right? It's flat, right? It's flat. But you put it on its side and you spin it. What is it? Spin that quarter. You ever spin it on a table? What is it?
A sphere.
A sphere. It's the earth.
But there's no density in it.
But hold on, but the earth is spinning, right? What if it really is flat, but we're spinning?
Trevor.
What if we're flat? What if it's
But
both?
we're digging.
Hold on.
We're digging into the earth. There's depth to it.
But a quarter's got depth?
Not much. Okay, we're not going to go there.
Hey, but a quarter is both flat and round.
But not 3-dimensional.
If you spin it, it is.
Okay. I'm changing the subject.
That's a crazy thought, though. Hold on. That's
okay.
Mm-hmm. Flat earthers, let me know what your thoughts in the comments. In the comments, are we a quarter?
Because Trevor has flat earthers in his audience. My audience. If you're a flat earther, you're probably not listening to my podcast.
Sorry. Squirrel.
Okay. So 2025, more solo shows for you.
Yeah.
And then 2025, I'm going to do more in-depth interviews. And I'm going to look for guests that have done the work and that are super self-aware and are willing to share. It's harder to find in the tech industry, to be honest, especially if they're in corporate.
Yeah.
Do you find that? You haven't been in the corporate world for a while. A lot of your guests are like entrepreneurs
and business owners and authors and this, that, and the other. Yeah. These aren't corporate. No. And I could see that because they're going to have their own compliance filter of what they can and cannot say. They're putting their PC face on.
I've had people say yes and then cancel and say like their PR department didn't allow them to be on this show. Either whether it's my show or other shows that I help produce.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
That is a shame.
If you're going to hire somebody, then ideally you trust them. And then if you can trust them not to say something, maybe that's a trade secret, and just trust them to know that they know what to say and what not to say.
I agree with that 100%. You know my viewpoint on that. It's like, look, anyway, I can go on that
what's next for your business in 2025, Trevor?
For my business, well, I am launching a separate business, so that's exciting.
Are you able to share details?
I mean, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I can't divulge.
To be announced, everyone.
Yeah. But it'll be similar to what we're talking about with podcasting and overcoming your fears and unleashing your voice.
Hint, hint.
Unleash your voice. I want to help people. How about that? I can say that. I can't go into too much details, but I'm going to help people unleash their voice.
I love that.
And that goes to, remember we're talking about, you asked me my word, freedom. I'm going to help people get some freedom. Like public speaking, getting on LinkedIn Live, doing podcasts, all these things has given you a sense of freedom.
So many opportunities.
But it's also giving you some freedom. Like it's liberated you in a lot of ways.
Yes.
From your fears.
Less afraid, more open to sharing.
Right.
Not being apologetic.
You're a different person.
I am.
It's freed you.
Yes. Freed me, and also I think content creation is freeing, and it's like peeling an onion, right? Because when you first start, you say what you think you should say, the should, right? Mm-hmm. And then every year, you say more of what you really feel, what you really think. Yeah. And then I think I also discovered things that I didn't know I wanted to talk about, but I do.
What are some
I
of those
discovered
things?
my values.
The toys.
The toys. Yeah. And it's so much more than just toys. Trevor, did you know that the adult market spends more on toys than toddlers now, age 3 to 5? Yes.
Well, they're buying them for the kids.
And themselves.
Because
you think about, back then I couldn't afford Lego sets. My parents couldn't afford Lego sets. Now I can, and I'll do them. And there's like Seinfeld Lego set. There's like Star Wars Lego sets. There's like architecture Eiffel Tower Lego sets, right? That a kid may or may not want to do, but an adult will. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole market for nostalgic toys. Mm-hmm. And it's because the inner child in all of us maybe didn't get to buy it when we were kids, or we didn't even have the time to play with it.
What's the toy you always wanted you didn't get?
Legos.
Yeah. Okay.
And now I have.
You're like, now I got lots of Legos.
And it's a fun thing I can do with my son. My daughter gets into it, and they're teenagers, and they'll get into it. It's a bonding moment.
What's the toy that I always wanted that I didn't get?
Yeah.
I would say it's more than a toy, but I remember I had a neighbor that had go-kart.
Oh.
And,
like you can sit in it and drive it?
Yeah. Like one of those, I think probably like a push mower engine. You pull the thing, gasoline, push mower engine. And there was a field, like now everything's developed, but I mean, there was a lot of fields, a lot of empty, around here.
So they zipped around the field?
Just tearing up in the field in the go-kart, and I remember, like, I never even got to ride in it, but I remember seeing them being like...
Well, Trevor, Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah?
We were just looking at that for my son's birthday.
that would be cool.
You should do that.
I did the... is it Andretti's or on...
Oh, Andretti's, yeah.
Right, it's like a...
There's
like an arcade.
You can drive go-karts indoors.
Holy crap. It's 2 stories and it... Oh, my gosh.
I would try that.
I did it, and I was tearing it up. Yeah. Cutting people off and I was going,
You're so competitive.
Oh, it was amazing. Like, I'm probably going to kill somebody in here. Like, I'm going,
I think there's something to be said for honoring and giving the inner kid that we were what they wanted.
Let's talk about bucket lists. What are do you have any bucket list things that you want to do before
Well, I'm doing them, or they're like being planned.
Okay.
So like end of the year, we're planning a Tanzania safari trip.
Whoa.
And so that's bucket list.
Okay, Tanzania. Is that in Africa? Is that
yes,
Africa? Okay.
Yes. So we're going
so you're going to go see like
to the
lions?
Serengeti. Yeah.
Dang, Fanny.
Yeah.
You go feed a lion?
I'm not getting out of the car.
Have you seen those? I think they're called ligers.
I don't know what that is.
They breed a lion and a tiger.
Oh.
And they're huge. They are massive.
Wow. No. I mean, that's bucket list. What's a bucket list for you?
That's pretty cool, and I like that.
Yeah.
Fanny. So I want to get in one of those cages and have the great white shark try to eat me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you imagine that?
Do you scuba dive? Or
No, I've never scuba dived, but snorkeling, yes.
Okay.
And that's actually another thing. So I'm seeing all these new really cool, like snorkeling has taken a whole nother level. So they have these like jetpacks that go on your legs, right? And you have right, and
underwater,
and you've got your flippers, right? Your flippers on, but these things, you've got the power, so you're swimming like this, and you're just going fast underwater and craziness.
Oh my goodness! I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, it looks so cool. And then they have this snorkel mask that has an air tank that's only about like this.
Okay.
And I think it gives you 30, 45 minutes. It's nothing like super long, but enough that like for snorkeling, that's amazing. To give you 30.
Are you going to make it happen?
Absolutely. I want to get that. That's a good question. I want to do that. Hold on. And have the great white shark try to eat me while I have and I'm running from it.
Would that be Australia?
I think
that you get to swim with the sharks?
Yeah, I haven't looked into all of that, but that'd be super cool.
Why haven't you looked into all that?
I don't know. It's one of those things that I've thought about I want to do, but I haven't
So that's freedom, right?
Yeah.
Is you have the means probably to do that now. So why haven't you?
I just haven't,
I think that should be on your 2025 to-dos.
Yeah. I think this probably goes in part of it. So, I'm single. So that I need a partner that I can go enjoy things with, I'm not the type of person that's going to go on a vacation by themselves. I'm just not.
What about with a bunch of your guy friends?
I just don't. It's not. I have some close friends, but they're at different lifestyles than I am. They have different, like one of my really good friends is like a brother to me. grew up together, but he's got two little kids,
different stage of life.
Yeah, just different stages of life.
I would love to hear what the audience bucket lists are and whether they're making it happen. So drop that in the comments below as well.
Yeah.
If you make it to
this,
we're an hour and 50 minutes into this episode.
Well,
plus breaks.
We started late and then we had breaks. So we're probably really, I bet the episode is really only so far, right? An hour and 20 minutes right now. What do you think?
Yeah.
If you subtract.
Maybe.
Subtract.
Either way, if you're still with us listening to this, you get a prize. Well, I'll think of something to send you.
Ooh, see that?
I'll think of something to send you. So everyone, if you can drop into the comments what Trevor's bucket list item is or what my bucket list item is, and then I'll get you a little prize. Put that in the comments. On YouTube.
Yep, put it in the comments. What's my bucket list? And she going to hook you up with something. I don't know what it is yet. We're going to hook them up.
I'll find something. Okay. I'll find something. That's something cool. Good.
Mystery prize. I like that.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about something that's been bothering me lately.
Okay.
Or frustrating me lately.
Ooh, let's get it.
Is corporate people not investing in their own growth. And waiting for the company to pay for their training or their certifications or whatever, instead of just taking it in their own hands and then doing it. Are you seeing that? Because I'm seeing that.
I am seeing that. Matter of fact, I was telling somebody, I was at a big conference, and this person is on, gosh, who knows how much money the company spent to put this stage together. One of the biggest, baddest stages, you know what I'm talking about? Like this is a Fortune 100 company, giant conference, big stage. And here's this corporate employee that's getting to speak on the stage. And I told her, I was like, hey, look, you don't understand the value of the asset. Is like, you need to have a videographer, you need to have a photographer, you need to have someone capture this moment of you being on that stage. Because, like, God forbid,
it's such authority when you're on a stage like that. It sets you up as the total expert.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, if you ever leave this company, like, that's an asset you just captured. I mean, you could be, why wouldn't you be able to get on other stages? Yeah. Like, and you're talking about a corporate stage, a Fortune 100 company. You're talking about big money if you get to be a paid speaker that goes onto a stage like that.
Yeah.
They will pay you $20,000 to go speak on a stage like that.
So what was her response?
She just was like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds like, but it was just kind of, I could tell it was going in one ear and out the other. I'm like, look, you don't understand the value of, like, you're getting such a value to go on to that stage. You need to capture that moment. Like, it's an asset.
And that's what's frustrating, I think. And I realize now, even when I'm working with, like, different clients, they're afraid to be seen still. They're so afraid to be seen, as if their wrists are going to be slapped and they think they're self-serving, or people will judge me because they think I'm trying to show off. Or for that woman, maybe like, oh, a videographer, who do I think I am that I would bring in a videographer to video me? I must be such a show-off if I do that.
It's a shame that the company doesn't do it for them. You're going to put them on your platform, put them on the stage. Yeah. Why would you not capture the moment and give them the asset? So stupid. But anyway.
But do you think, I almost think that if companies are that slow to get on the content creation bandwagon, they're going to be left behind. Those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, whether you like him or not, the Grant Cardones of the world, the Tony Robbins of the world, the Mel Robbins of the world, Oprah, right? They all have media companies now. And that's what I've been thinking about is like every company needs to be a media company now.
Well, yeah, it's having a personal brand, right?
Yes.
So you have a corporate brand and then you have a personal brand. So you have like Tesla corporate brand, but then Elon personal brand, right?
And personal brand wins every time.
It does.
It always has more followers.
Absolutely, because people don't want to do business with a logo. They want to do business with a person, right? It's why, if you think about it, they've been doing this forever. It's why companies will have mascots, right? Why do we have the Geico lizard?
Yeah.
Right?
I like that guy.
I do too. The Geico lizard, he's cool, right? But think about it.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Or Progressive, Flow, and
they have a bunch of those characters.
Look at all these shout outs.
Oh, there was the caveman.
Caveman, yeah.
So easy a caveman could do it, right?
Yeah. It seeps into our brains, all these things.
Yep.
But it's people.
Mascots, it's people, personal brand.
Yeah.
They humanize the company. That's what they're doing is they're humanizing, even through a lizard, a gecko, they're humanizing the brand. And people connect with humans. Like they want to connect. I want to buy from a person. I don't want to buy from a logo or whatever, this polished,
And even like Salesforce, it's a little cute Einstein cartoon that represents their brand. Yeah. I think companies really have to start thinking like that. And I think those that don't will be left behind.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of them are. I mean, well, now you're right. There's a lot that
all those people that you interview, they probably have their own companies, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of them have their own successful $1 million, 7-figure, 8-figure companies, right? And because they're the loudest and they're in people's feeds, I think they are going to be the voices that America, the world hears versus news outlets versus corporate company accounts. And I think if people aren't getting into that, they're going to suffer. Their businesses are going to suffer.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So even you're talking about the corporate people that like they're so PC, right?
You look at
that.
Okay, yeah, you finish.
Well, I mean, hell, even if we go political with it. Okay, let's go political with it.
No, I'll give you a non-political example.
All right, well, let's not get political, but
Oprah.
They're so PC that they're too polished, right? Too scripted, everything's vetted beforehand, right?
But even before that, like you look at, let's say, Oprah's, every Christmas, there's an Oprah list of items that she so-called vouches for and promotes, right? And then as soon as she talks about them, whether it's slippers or soap or a cool jacket or a scarf, then it just sells out from there. Mm-hmm. Right?
She's got a huge audience.
Versus the scarf company itself or the slippers company itself trying to promote them, they'll never get to that same level of promotion and influence as she has.
Right.
So if you're not building that personal brand, you're always going to be kind of stuck there. Your growth will be stunted.
Well, also think about this. For the audience, especially, I know I got a lot of job seekers that listen to the show, so check it out. Think about this for a second.
Yeah.
So you were working at a company, you put in 10, 15 years with this company, 20 years with this company, and then, we have a financial downturn and the company has layoffs. And you're just caught up into that, and you get let go. Okay. So you invested all your time and energy and your life into their logo, and then you get let go. I mean, what we're talking about, if you're building a personal brand on the side, while you do that same thing, okay, you have a much better safety net when that company lets you go because you have a personal brand that's built already.
And people know you.
Mm-hmm.
Your network, your community, your audience knows you.
Yep.
And somebody in there will hire you.
Perfect example. I don't know if you know her, Heather Monahan. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
So Heather Monahan, she was working, as a high up at some big company. I can't remember what it was, but she was working at this company, and the CEO essentially basically gave the company to his daughter, and the daughter didn't like Heather, right? So anyway, a lot of clash, and they fired Heather. She fired Heather, right? So, but Heather had already been building a personal brand on the side. And she put out a LinkedIn post basically asking for guidance, asking for help, right? And she said something like, if I've ever provided you any value, if I've ever da-da-da-da, right? And she had been. That's the personal brand. She had been providing value. She had been building her network and all of that. And then all she did was have to ask. And doors started opening up all over the place. People wanted Heather, like, oh, wow, dang, Heather's back on the market now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But if she hadn't been doing that and building her personal brand, no one would know who Heather is. And then when she needed it, she would go, it wouldn't have had the same effect. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah.
I got off the phone with a friend of mine from long ago, and she reached out, and she was struggling with her boss. She got a new boss, but she'd been there 20 years by now. And the boss just totally messed with her self-confidence, self-worth, and she had to take a mental health break from that toxic environment. And now I told her to get a different job, but she's struggling as to how to write a resume, hasn't applied for a new job in 20 years, doesn't know what to do because she committed her whole life to the company, not staying up to date with what's happening on LinkedIn or the news and all that, right? And so it was heartbreaking because she felt like the only option was to just go back to that toxic environment because otherwise she didn't know how to tackle the whole job search market. And so I sent her resources and, books and YouTube channels. There's so many resources out there. And she just didn't even know they existed.
Here's a simple strategy. Simple. For anybody working in corporate America that can help protect you from a downturn and a layoff. Okay? When that layoff comes, because it's probably going to happen. It's going to happen sooner. I mean, it's going to happen. So, I want you to be, throughout your entire career, I want you to get on LinkedIn, and anytime you ever hear anyone give you any type of compliment, any praise, okay, you did a good job, you did a whatever, anytime you ever hear any type of compliment, I want you to simply ask for a recommendation on LinkedIn. Get them to put it in writing.
Great advice.
Okay? Over your
That's
career,
a great tip.
Over your career, you're going to have hundreds, thousands, right? How many micro points, how many times do you get compliments? Anytime you get a positive praise or anything, I want you to just say, man, that means the world to me. Thank you so much. Hey, would you do me a big favor? Could you put exactly what you just said? Could you write me a LinkedIn recommendation? Do exactly what you just said. Could you just type that up? Would you do me a favor? That'd be awesome. I'd appreciate that so much. That's all you got to do. Just ask for it. They already gave you the compliment.
Yes.
Right? All you got to do.
I do that with my clients.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you got a Rolodex of recommendations.
Please do that. Those of you in the audience.
Right? And think about that. Now when you get let go, who do you go to? Who do you reach out to?
Your network.
The people that recommended you. They know what your work is like.
Yeah.
Right? And you just reach out to those people and say, hey, where are you at these days? What are you up to these days? Where you been at? What you got going on? I'm in the search right now. Like, those people will help you.
And for those of you out there that are thinking, oh, but I don't want to ask them to write recommendations. I don't want to bother them. Like, it's nothing. People are happy to do that.
Right. And they've already done it. Like again, they're naturally.
Women don't ask. It's not our natural inclination to ask.
Really? Tell me more about that. Let's dig in. Let's dig in.
To ask for help is to maybe seem like we're needy or trying to grab too much attention for ourselves.
Is it because men are expected to be the provider and just give more? Like to just...
No, I think it's more...
They shouldn't ask for help. It should be given?
Yes.
Because men are expected to be providers.
No, but like they're expecting... They're hoping that somebody will notice their good work all on their own. And then they'll give them that raise or they'll give them that bonus.
I got you. So they're not asking asking for a raise and No, that's
at this point, I've done this, or even just as simple as asking for a recommendation. Right? Can you write me a recommendation? I'd like to poll our audience when was the last time you guys in corporate asked for a recommendation from one of your peers or your clients?
Yeah.
And asked them to put that on LinkedIn. That's not done.
Just not done, and it's huge. And let me tell you,
it's so huge.
It's a big one. So again, remember that anytime you're getting a compliment or any type of praise,
this is golden, folks.
I want you just to say thank you so much. Like lead with gratitude. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. I can't believe you say that. Hey, would you do me a favor? Could you just send me that in a LinkedIn recommendation? Put that right. They will do it. They'll say yes. They'll be glad to do it. Right?
It's literally 2 or 3 sentences.
Right.
That's
so
it.
They're going to type it up, send you a recommendation. Now, okay, also what you can do with this is you can make a carousel of 5-star review recommendations, right, with their typed up and their picture on it. And it's a carousel of just how awesome you are. And also what that does is when you get let go, okay, what does that do? Go back and read those. Yeah. That reinforces something. Yeah. Right? Because you're going to be at a down moment. You're going to be feeling crappy. You're going to be feeling like crap.
It'll remind you of your greatness.
Exactly. Yeah. All of that. The reason why I'm saying this is I have had to go through this myself when I was at a low point, and I went through and I was reading all of my recommendations of other people's words about me. It really lifted me up. Yeah. I'm like, dang, give me some confidence again. Like, you know what? Damn it. I can do this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Okay. Take that advice to heart, all y'all
so
out there.
Simple, so easy.
It is easy.
That's an easy one. And you just do it consistently, though. Consistently.
Yeah.
Right? Consistently.
The other day, I had my EA collect all the comments from all the posts that we did for our podcasts so that we can have, because it's also provides me feedback. What resonates with people, what doesn't. And then I was just reading through it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, because I don't know if you feel this, Trevor, like you pump out all this content and sometimes you're not sure whether it's doing anything. Right? Do you ever get feelings like that?
Yes.
Right? You put it out there and you hope that it provides value. Sometimes it comes back in the form of good comments and good feedback, but you're not always totally sure, or at least that's how I feel.
I hear you.
And so the other day when she copy and pasted all these things and I was like reading through it, I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't in vain.
Are you starting to get moments where you're getting recognized?
Yes.
See that?
Yeah.
I was just, it happens from time to time. And it's really cool when it happens. I had a guy I was at a Frisco Connect actually. And this guy, he looked familiar, like I'd seen him before, but he comes up to me, like he beelined right over to me, like, and I see him coming and he's smiling. And he comes shake my hand and he's like, man, I just got to tell you, and it actually happens a lot over there, but he's like, I just got to tell you, man, I just really appreciate your content and what you're doing and what you're putting out there. And it just, man, if there's anything I can do to help you, like, you just let me know. Like, and things like that. It's like,
how good did that feel?
It feels great because it's like, I don't know this is some stranger, but I've made some kind of impact on him with my content that he's beelining over to me. Like, he's got to come talk to me. And is like telling me he appreciates it and he wants to support me. Hey, what can I do for you to help you? How can I help you and support whatever? I'm like, wow, that it feels really good, And there are those moments that you get that kind of thing where you're like, okay, you know what? There's an impact here that's happening.
And I want the people in the audience to not think that, oh, that's just, Trevor and Fanny because they're putting out all this content. We're just average Jane and Joe's.
Oh, I ain't nobody.
Like,
Fanny's somebody. Fanny's somebody. But look, y'all.
Everyone out there can do this.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't even need all this fancy equipment. Mm-mm. You can do it on a Zoom. Yeah. You can do it on your phone.
Riverside. Great tool.
StreamYard, Restream, whatever you want to use. Mm-hmm. I want more people to realize how important their voices are. Especially women, and especially Asian women.
Fanny,
how many Asian...
Why are you doing Tech Legacies? Why are we not doing Asian voices?
I just use Tech Legacies as a platform to do that. If you look at my guests...
Are they all Asian ladies?
Oh, I have a story around that. But before I get to that.
Okay.
I always alternate between a male guest and then a female guest. So 50-50. Even though in the tech world, women are not 50%. And then I try to just have a very diverse set of guests because I think everyone's voices deserves to be heard. But you know what's funny? I have not been able to get very many Chinese or Japanese or Korean tech leaders to be on the podcast. And the few that I've asked, one told me they weren't sure if their PR department would allow it, and then she didn't get back to me. And then another one just keeps on telling me she's really busy. Which I get it. Everyone's busy. But it's just whether you put importance to it or not.
From what I'm hearing, though, this is what I'm hearing. That's super niche. I mean, how many Asian tech, are there a lot?
There's not a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
but those that I do find, I'm saying they're not agreeing to be on the podcast.
I know, but it's a numbers game. So again, I go back to it's so niche, right? That like, all right, let's just say you were going to interview and your podcast was about teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a lot of teachers out there. Your pool of people to ask and get, right? Or, again, entrepreneurs. Well, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. The pool is a little bit, authors. Okay, great. It's a lot of authors. Like, you've niched it down. You're like, Asian, female, in the tech space.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the pool got whoosh,
I'm not saying smaller. That's all I look for.
No. I know. Yeah. I know. But what I'm saying is that pool of what you want to have on, it's a lot smaller. Right?
But all the more I want to amplify it.
That's why, okay. All right.
Just as one amongst many. Like, I have guests of all different...
So what's your approach? Let's talk about it.
For me to find them?
Yeah, well, first you find them, and then now you're getting shut down by them. I want to know what's the approach. Why they're shutting
I'm going to keep asking.
Well, okay, but what
I would keep searching and finding.
How, are you sending a DM? How's this, like, what are you doing?
No,
what's your approach?
Emails.
Okay.
Well, emails and network.
How about we do this right now? I want you to imagine that Asian female tech leader is here right now They're outside the room, okay?
Okay.
And you want them to come inside the room and come have a conversation with you. There's your camera.
Oh, okay.
I want you to talk to them.
You're putting me on a spot.
They're out there.
Okay.
You want to get them in here right now. And then we'll clip this, okay? And we're going to send it to them.
Okay. 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 So for all you Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Asian descent, because I do get a lot of Indian guests, which I love as well. But for those others, there are so few of our faces out there in tech speaking and sharing our views, sharing our voice, sharing our messages. The next generation of Chinese, Korean, Japanese, whatever it is, need to see us as being visible, as strong women, as women that stand up for what they say, as confident women. And it is a shame. It is such a shame that if you've gotten up to the ladder or the top of the corporate ladder that you have, and for you not to show up and speak your voice and speak your message and share your gifts. It gets me quite emotional, actually, that it would be a disservice to the next generation if you don't show up on video. There you go.
There you go. And she
I
wants
think my voice cracked a little there.
You did. You got a little nervous. Hey, but that's
But
good.
that's because
You're passionate about it.
I care about it.
You care about it.
My voice cracks when I care about something.
Hey, all you Asian tech ladies. All right? All you Asian tech ladies. Hey, there you go. Instead of all the single ladies, it's all the Asian ladies, all the Asian ladies. Okay, this is gonna be bad when we clip it.
It's okay.
Wow.
We're at the 2-hour mark. Nobody's watching at this point.
No, but it's the clips. These clips are gonna go.
You're gonna clip it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get canceled for singing all the Asian ladies. Wow. Okay.
Said the straight white man.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be bad. I love this. No, but seriously.
Yeah.
All you tech Asian ladies out there, your voice is important, and Fanny is the one that's gonna help you to amplify it so that your children and your children's children and generations ahead of you can know who you are and know why it's important and why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. So Fanny Dunagan is your girl, okay? Come on now.
And we got great male allies like Trevor supporting us.
That's right. That's right. Because if it ain't right, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Anything that we haven't talked about, Trevor, that you want to get out there?
Anything.
What bothers you?
What bothers me?
That you want to make a stand for. I just shared what bothers me.
Okay. Yeah.
Share what bothers you, so we can do something about it.
Yeah, I'm on board with you with talking about this corporate nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so tired of corporate America and the amount of control they have over people. Like, if you think about, all right, this may go a little political, but let's go. Okay. During COVID, right, the government did the shutdowns, lockdowns, and why did that happen? There was a lot of pressure on corporate America, and corporate America didn't want to get sued. Somebody got sick, and they were forcing their employees to work, right? So they shut everything down. And it's like, wait a minute, you shut down people's ability to make a living and provide them for themselves. I just don't like some of the overreach and power that these big corporations have, like, over people's lives and the control that it and like.
And then those people feeling like they have no choice but to stay,
right?
Because there's no other alternatives.
Well, and it's scary. Well, let's talk about that. It's scary to leave a company.
Yes.
Leave stability. Leave your income. The fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Like, I remember when I left the auto industry, that was scary.
Yeah.
It was. It took a lot of courage for me to leave that because, again,
entrepreneurship is so hard.
It is hard.
It's the hardest thing I've had to do in my career. Is like make my own money, sell my own stuff, deliver my own stuff.
But it's worth it.
It so is.
It's worth it.
Because you don't have to ask for permission.
I still gotta ask for some permissions.
Yes, you do.
I'm like a.
You're like the hybrid.
I'm a wantrepreneur. I'm a wannabe. I'm a wantrepreneur. Okay. Like I
don't think it has to be one or the other. I really don't. I think you can have your cake and eat it too. I think you can have your 9 to 5, and then,
well, the company,
if there's something that you want to do, you do it in those other hours.
I'm excited. Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been the hybrid. Okay.
Because it'll still give you that steady income, which is important.
I've got the hybrid going, but I am launching something that is full on, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
And scary.
Yeah.
There's some times where I get imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
There's times where I'm like, feel like I'm over my head. But you know what? In order to do anything worth anything or to grow, you've got to embrace that. And you've got to do things that you don't know how to do. The only way you're going to, like, there's times where, like, literally I'm doing things I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you're going to grow. You know, the first time you do anything, you're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to suck at it probably too.
But I think we're at a point in our careers, and those in the audience, like, we have enough to figure it out. Even if we don't know, we can Google it. We can find a YouTube video, or through our network, find somebody that we can hire. And there are so many options now.
Hello, ChatGPT. Are you telling me you're scared to get out there and launch a business when you have this tool in your back pocket? Literally, I've got it on my phone that has access to all information. I don't need a coach to ask questions, business questions. Why would I need okay, they may be able to get deep into, like, psychological reasons why I'm doing things or not doing things.
I think people need to work on mindset, though.
Mindset and motivation and things like that. But let's just say strategic.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to
Tactics.
do X, Y, and Z. This is how you launch this. You need to go bop, 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 bop. Like, ChatGPT will tell you that. You don't need to ask somebody, hey, like, okay, let's say, for instance, back in the day, okay, Facebook ads. That's actually pretty dang complicated stuff, right? It kind of is. If you've ever gotten in the back of that before and ever...
I did it for a while, but yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, it can be kind of complicated, right? Okay, if you don't know how to do it and you know, like, you need to do Facebook ads for your business,
yeah,
ChatGPT, it'll tell you exactly what to do.
Yes.
It'll be like, matter of fact, it'll probably do it for you. Like, we're getting to that point where if you just say, I need you to run me some ads, I bet there's a plug-in that'll probably bloop, 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 bloop.
I want people in our audience to, like, really think about something they've always wanted to do or pursue, but they stop themselves from doing it. Maybe they wanted to be a gardener. Maybe they wanted to sell their knitting creations.
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
A teacher.
Okay. And you are. Look at you.
Yeah.
You are a teacher.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a helicopter pilot firefighter.
Ooh.
Yeah, and drop water on. Yeah.
There's still volunteer firefighter organizations now.
Yeah. I want to do the helicopter, though.
Oh.
Yeah, the helicopter pilot that drops water.
Trevor, I want you to make that dream come true this year.
What? That'd be pretty cool.
I'm challenging Trevor Houston right here, right now, to get on a helicopter ride this year.
I've never been in a helicopter.
Okay, are you committing? By the end of 2025.
Get in a helicopter.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, done.
Let's go. I need to
Those of you out there too.
Hold me accountable.
Hold him accountable. You guys declare what you want to do. Because I honestly think our dreams are closer than we think. And even just things like that. they can be a reality.
Yeah, I saw a little video when I was a kid in school of this helicopter pilot firefighter, and it was so cool. And they would go and pick up the water out of like a pool in somebody's backyard. Like they pick up the water and then go drop it on the fire. I mean, it was pretty cool. I was like, man, that looks like a fun job.
Do you accept this challenge, Trevor Houston?
Yeah, I accept. I accept.
I love it. Do it. And we want it documented. So
Okay.
we'll get a video of it.
You know what I think I'll do? I remember they've got some helicopter rides in Vegas, and they take you over like the Grand Canyon and stuff. Mm-hmm. That would be cool.
Okay.
Because I've been in Vegas and been like, I want to do that.
Okay.
Right. You know what else I want to do? Vegas has some cool stuff. They will pick you up in like a Humvee, like a military Humvee with like 50 cows on this thing, and they take you out in the desert, and you shoot like grenade launchers and big. You get up there and you're shooting tanks and stuff. They got all kinds of crazy military weapons out there. You're shooting in the desert.
Okay. Whatever it is, your dream's growing.
But
I'm just gonna hold you to the helicopter one. Don't make it more complicated than it is.
But think about that for a second. What have I said so far? I said get in a Shark Tank, get in the tank with it.
You're an adrenaline junkie. Oh my goodness.
Shoot military weapons. Do the helicopter. I mean, that's normal stuff.
Okay. That's none. I don't need to do any of that. Though I have been in a helicopter.
What are you gonna do when
Hawaii.
you go to Africa?
Yeah, I'm doing stuff that I'm living in a tent. Like, that's a stretch for me.
With lions around you.
Yes, and hippos.
And hippos.
And no blow dryer. A girl can be a girl. Come on.
I need to see this picture. It's going to be like hot. When are you going?
December.
Okay, so it probably won't be that. But it'll probably still be hot.
It's their summer. It's their summertime.
Oh, it's going to be super hot.
Yeah.
When
are you going to do this helicopter ride?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me pull out my...
I'm holding you to it. I think we should all do more things that, like, have been on the dream list and just do it now.
Do it now. Okay, so we're wrapping. We're landing the plane now. Okay?
Yes.
So this episode, we've talked about overcoming your fears.
Yeah.
Do it scared.
Yeah.
And we've talked about do it now.
A lot about content creation.
Content creation.
Building your personal brand.
Building your personal brand.
Setting up side hustles.
So
you don't have to rely on corporate.
And you know what we're really going to do is we're going to send this transcription of this episode up through ChatGPT, and it's going to extract all the golden nuggets out of it.
There you go.
And it's going to actually give us a description.
You didn't bring your mics, your little mics. We didn't throw the mic drop moments.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while, actually. I know I've changed things up. Oh, one other thing real quick.
Okay.
So I was actually playing around with this the other day. So you can get ChatGPT and you can do the audio,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I've seen people do this before, and I want to do this. So check this out. What we're going to do is we're going to cradle a phone next to the microphone. Okay?
Okay.
And have a podcast episode with ChatGPT.
Oh.
And ChatGPT is going to interview me.
Oh.
Okay? It's going to be the podcast host.
Yeah.
And it's going to interview me.
Okay.
Right?
I did bring something special for us to end the episode
Oh,
with.
okay. What you got?
Okay.
Oh, are they who you know cookies?
No sugar involved.
She's got me who you know cookies before.
I know.
Oh, what
so
is this?
I do it in my Tech Legacies podcast. So I end every episode with these, what they call conversation cards from Diary of a CEO.
Let's go.
And these are questions that a lot of famous people write down and ask each other.
Okay.
Authors, movie stars, all that. So you're going to pick one and answer the question that's on the card.
I love this.
And then I'll pick one. Okay, you start.
I love gamification. I love this. Okay.
Read it out loud and then answer it.
What is your mood right now?
Oh.
My mood right now. Such a great question. I would say I'm excited. I am hopeful. And yeah, I would say excited and hopeful. For what? The future. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces in my life right now, but I'm hopeful that things will come together the way they should. And they will. It'll all work out the way it should work out anyways. But like you talk about doing it scared and starting before you're ready and things like that. Like I am launching a business that I have to still get some approvals for, some things that have to go through. And like I've already invested so much time, money, and energy and things like that, and resources, and so I'm doing things before I'm ready, right? Which is I preach that, start before you're ready. So I'm actually doing these things, and so I'm hopeful that it all works out, and it'll work out.
I want to share something I heard recently. Cody Sanchez, is that her name?
Yeah,
right?
I like her.
She said on her podcast, or somebody's podcast, she said, if we only knew that we can all bend reality. If we only knew that just by our sheer will, we can make things happen. Think how unstoppable we would be.
You know, I've said that before. Imagine what you could do if you knew you couldn't fail. Mm-hmm. What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you were 10 for 10.
Yeah.
Right? What would you go do?
Are you asking that of me now?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would be to build a media company. And the thing is, I am doing it.
Let's go.
And that's when I know that I'm on my right path. Okay. We've just been told to wrap up.
Yeah, we've been told to wrap it up.
So I'll just pick one.
Okay.
What would you like to pay attention to that you don't currently pay attention to, and why?
That's a great question.
I think as a mom, I have to be conscious about paying attention to my children in all their different moments, right? Sometimes I do have to remind myself, like at breakfast, we're just like grabbing and going and all that. And, you know, just to notice my kids' moods or notice their moods after school. And I think to be more conscious about that. That's what I would like to work on.
To be present.
Yeah.
Of those things.
Not thinking about work and just paying attention to that. Okay.
All right.
So with that.
Hey, guys, this was a great episode. A lot of golden nuggets.
Yeah.
Long. It's a long episode, but it's great. Okay.
Let us know if you like this format.
And if you got to the end. If you got to the very end.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, my
Holla
goodness.
at your boy. We'll do something for you.
We will. We will.
If you watch this to the very end, like
we'll reward you.
Yeah. I'm gonna hook you up. Send me a DM.
Likewise.
On LinkedIn.
LinkedIn
Locked in. Get the job done when I clock in. Okay. And we're out.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Who You Know Show podcast. My name is Trevor Houston, and if you've enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing wherever you listen and leave us a positive review to help us keep the mics on in the studio. Until next week, that's the show. It's all about who you know.